eclipses are times where you just kind of need to let go and surrender and not do a whole lot. Like no manifesting, none of that really. Like there's how many moon cycles in a year that you can manifest and make wishes on and do magic on. There's a few out of the year called eclipses that we don't do that. The natives and the indigenous peoples and the ancient cultures, they saw that as a big threat to their society. The sun, which is the giver of life, was... Imagine you're an ancient culture and you're not familiar with astrology. Language is just a new thing. You're going about your day, and all of a sudden, in the daytime, and you're getting used to the day and then the night, and then the day and the night, and then the moon is full, and then the moon goes away, and then the moon is full, and this is consistent. This is rhythmic. This is okay. And then all of a sudden, you're in the day, you're farming your field, and the sun disappears. You think, the world is ending.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a lot of symbolic representation of that, but that they treated eclipses very, very seriously. And in ancient astrology, they saw that as a kind of dethroning of the king, where oftentimes they would actually remove the king, abdicate him, put someone else there, and then when the eclipse was over, they'd murder him and put the king back on. And that would be a way of them, in a sense, realizing that there's transits, there's cycles happening. The king is threatened in some way. So we make adjustments in our life to allow that to happen. And then we can go about business as usual by making the specific adjustments. Obviously, that's an extreme example, but the same thing goes on our day-to-day lives. It's not about... That's why awareness is such a key component in astrology. And to be honest, not even enough astrologers take that into consideration. Of it's not about completely rearranging your life for what the hell's going on out there. Because to me, astrology is about living life in harmony with nature. But it is just being aware of the influences that are happening in the world and happening to us as individuals and happening to us as collectives.
Yeah, I mean, everything we build is out of nature. It's a team effort.
Exactly.
So what's the difference between solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse?
So a solar eclipse is...
in terms of what it represents, I guess. I think
yeah, well, in a sense, a solar eclipse represents... I mean, the eclipses in general, they're very... They're similar in that aspect of the fact that they represent times of, you can kind of call them almost gateway periods, where we're leaving certain traits, characteristics, experiences behind, and we're entering into new. It's a eclipse season, which is what we call it in astrology, are in between eclipses, right? It's about 2 weeks before the first eclipse, about all the way up to 2 weeks after the last eclipse in that cycle. So eclipses happen in pairs or triads. So once that kind of period is over, then things go back to normal. Solar eclipses happen when we have a new moon, and lunar eclipses happen when we have a full moon. So that's the big difference, full moon versus new moon. But solar eclipses are, in a sense, a threatening or a period of change to our personality, our ego, change to our conscious self, whereas lunar eclipses represent shifts and change and transformation to our unconscious self, or our conditioned self, our emotional self. So that's the slight variance. But in general, like I said, they represent that period of shifting, of transformation. Again, it happens every year. But what changes each year, or approximately every 18 months, is that the eclipses happen in different pairs of signs. And those pairs of signs, as we now know, influence us all differently based off of the time that we were born, because we have different signs in our chart in different places, aka different houses in our chart. And those are what really matters. And that's where, for periods of 2 years, approximately 2 years, 18 months I said, about 18 months. There's bigger cycles at play, but and then also 18-year cycles. Every 18 years, you have eclipses activating stuff in your chart that happened 18 years ago. So usually what that means is similar themes to where you were 18 years ago begin to occur. Similar shifts, similar realizations. Maybe people from your past come back and you got to work some stuff out. It could be something as kind of basic as that, or it could be something as impactful as you get a realization of some trauma that happened 18 years ago that you haven't resolved yet and you're working through,